Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here, and welcome to our next spoiler discussion for Return of the Dragon Emperor. Earlier on today you saw me do a little Valentine theme video and whatnot, and I am back later on today to do these spoilers for you. And today we are back with the lovely Millium, son of Grimm and Pandora, Prince of the Light Palace, and now he is successor of the Dragon Crest, which is very exciting. Our first kind of like proper glimpse into seeing some dragons in the Return of the Dragon Emperor spoilers and whatnot. He is light blue, as a couple of people predicted he would be. He retains his light from his previous J ruler. So now he's sporting a bit of blue. So let's look and see what he's up to. I've kind of zoomed in the card a little bit here. I'm going to try my best to zoom in on the rest of the card. So maybe you guys will have an easier time reading it and whatnot, and at least getting a better look at the card. I'll be reading out all the information on it anyway, guys, so don't worry about that. Or you can like check the cards on your computer at home or whatever and just have this in the background. So for his judgment, it is very expensive, as a new version of Adobe Acrobat Reader down there tells me it's available. Thank you very much. So he has a judgment of 7, which is 1 light, 1 water, and 5 void. But he comes with this interesting piece of information. You may pay 1 less to play this ability for each 4 dragon power counters on this card, which seems a little bit crazy because, I mean, I'm terrible at math, okay? But in order to get dragon power counters on this card, we have to be able to, like, whenever we roll 1 or more dice using force. So for each instance of force, but not each dice, technically, we put only 1 dragon counter on it, which is kind of insane. So in order to pay the total 5 void less for his judgment, we would need to have at least 20, yeah, at least, or is it 25? So if there's 4, and then you do it 5 times, so 5 4s. Yeah, that's right, 20. So you need at least 20 dragon counters in order to reduce it to, from the void cost or whatever. So I'm not quite sure if you're going to be able to force 20 times in any given game. I suppose we'll need to see what kind of support that Millium gets and whatnot in order to support this, but it's kind of bizarre. And I like this kind of little bit of foreshadowing and whatnot, or this little discussion at the bottom, like, regarding the story, because it's going, you're giving that power to me? Yes, it has to be you. But why? You're a descendant of the one who can wield such power. A discussion between Millium, successor of the Dragon Quest, and Ryula, the Alabaster Dragon Princess. Who is this mysterious Dragon Princess? Well, we're going to find out till we move on to the Millium, the Sacred Dragon. And I'm just going to zoom this up a little bit here so that we can read this card a little bit better, hopefully. Hopefully that helps you guys. For some reason, it is 0 attack and 0 defense, but we'll find out why in just a second. Millium, the Sacred Dragon, is a flyer, obviously. As this card enters your field, you may force X, where X is the number of dragon power counters on this card. So, as far as I'm aware, this wording means that, basically, how many counters you have on Millium before he flips is, X is a number of, I feel like it's saying if you are forcing that many times, or I feel that might be wrong, where, because it says force X, where X is a number of your dragon power counters in this card. This card enters your field with Y plus 100 counters on it, where Y is the result of the roll. So does this mean that, say you had 20 of those power counters or whatever like that, would you roll 20 times? Like, that seems a little bit ridiculous. I don't think that would be right. So I'm not too sure that. I'll need to actually read up on it and see what the exact ruling on what that actually means, because it's a little bit confusing because they're using X and Y obviously to substitute it and everything like that, and I'm terrible when it comes to maths and everything like that, so I'm still a little bit iffy on how exactly that interaction works, but I'll need to double check and look it up, because I'm not quite sure if it said in the spoiler article exactly how the interaction works or exactly what it means essentially, but I'll need to double check and whatnot. So when this card enters your field, if there are 40 or more 100 counters on this card, destroy all J/rating your opponent controls, which is pretty scary. That's pretty scary in my opinion. I don't know how you, like, would you manage to get to 40 counters? I'm trying to think of, like, is there a way to ramp force? Something like that? I'm not too sure. So I'm still a little bit bewildered by this mechanic. It's very, very strange. Although I like the bottom. It's like, fusing with Ryula, the two became a mighty dragon, the last hope to stop Alahamut. And now I'm just thinking of, is this what Homeworld thinks of fusion? Steven Universe references. And, well, give this a little zoom in here. We have the Stone of the Dragonoids, which for some reason when I hear Dragonoids, I can't help but think of Power Rangers. I'm not too sure why. If your ruler is not Millium, the successor of the Dragon Crest or the Sacred Dragon, it comes in rested unless you pay 300 life. Treat this card as a light magic stone, and a water magic stone produces light or water. And when this card enters your field, if your ruler is Millium, successor of the Dragon Crest, put a dragon counter on it. Which, you know, I feel like it would have been better if, like, he got more. Like, I feel like it would have been better if maybe if this card enters your field, he got 4. Or he got, like, 2 or something like that. I feel like just 1 is just not enough. I don't know why. I feel that way. Now we actually get to meet Raula herself, who people have been saying constantly that this is actually Valentina in her original body, or this is the body that Valentina is now possessing now that she's been ousted from Priscia's body and whatnot. But turns out she is a completely different character, as Jordan has pretty much said for like the longest time, whatever, since this very same preview image shown. I think it's because I'm not quite sure if it's the same artist who did some of the early Valentina artwork, because she's got like yellow eyes and she's got like kind of long hair similar to Valentina and kind of the pointy ears, but I'm not too sure. But she's very interesting. So she is the Alabaster Dragon Princess. She is an ancient / Dragonoid. She's 3 cost, she's 2 light and 1 void for an 800. When she enters your field, you can choose one. Put a target Dragonoid with total cost 2 or less from your graveyard into your field, or if your ruler is astral, heal it. And this is what people have been going crazy over as far as I've been reading over and everything like that. Essentially, if it gets to the point where your J-Ruler dies, essentially, so you couldn't give it imperishable, it got Black Moon beamed, you don't have the Windscled Refuge and whatnot, it dies and blah blah blah, it turns astral. All it can do is target, it can call for stones, and it has its ruler abilities, I believe, because they updated the rules on that. Basically, when she comes in, if your Millium is dead in the water, you can heal him and bring it back to life and be able to judgment again, I'm assuming. Not quite sure whether Millium would keep all the counters that he'd gathered up or whether they would go away. I would need to double check. Also, she comes with the ability that other ancients and dragonoids you control gain plus 200. Very, very nice. I like her. I like her artwork a lot. She's very pretty. Next up, we have the Alabaster Dragonoid, and I will just zoom in here a little bit. He is a 2 cost, he's 1 light and 1 water, a 400 ancient dragonoid. When this card enters your field, you force for 1, so roll 1 die. Put X number of 100 counters on this card, where X is the result of the roll. So he could potentially gain plus 600 and become a 1000. But again, it's like it's a small buff or whatever. I mean, you could potentially say that you could get a 1000 for the cost of just 2, which is pretty good. It just obviously depends on how lucky you are with your dice rolls, which again is a little bit the risk factor with this deck, because you're kind of random rolling most of it because you're trusting a dice basically to do all your rolls and whatnot. So it is a little bit iffy, but I suppose if you feel confident enough in your luck in rolling a dice, then good on you. You could try it out. Very, very interesting mechanic. We have Millium's Roar, and this is a nice little chant here. Not a quick cast, sadly, but it is still quite nice. Costs 1 light and 1 water. You force for 1, so roll 1 die. Put X amount of 100 counters on each of up to 2 target resonators, where X is the result of the roll. So basically, you can put whatever the amount is of your roll onto 2 target resonators you control. I'm guessing it's for the rest of the game, because it doesn't say end of turn, so I'm assuming that's the case. Also, this would be a very bad matchup, I now realise, if your opponent was running the newest Vampire Mikage Dot or whatever, who steals 100 counters. That would be a very, very bad matchup, so I'm just thinking that is a potential crippling weakness that this deck has, and now that I'm thinking about it. And next up, we have Dragon Powwow. It's a very mighty looking card, I quite like it. This one is actually quick cast Ancient Magic, which is quite bizarre, seeing a light Ancient Magic. Last time we saw a Darkness Ancient Magic get included, so I feel like maybe this could also work somewhat potentially with Alahamut, if it's true that Alahamut is our black light ruler, and he might be able to use Ancient Magic, like mana or whatever, for light and darkness, so that'd be very interesting to see. You force for 1, so roll 1 die. Target J/Resonator gains XX, where X is the amount of the roll until end of turn. Then recover that card if it's a Dragonoid. So this one is definitely end of turn, and you're getting to recover something if it's a Dragonoid or whatnot, which is very nice. And then next up is the cutest freaking card I've ever seen. Look at this thing. I want a plushie of it. Like, if Force of Will ever went into the little market of making plushies, I want this tiny alabaster drake. It's just so adorable. Look at it with his little paw claws and its horns and its little ears, and it is so adorable. I want like 20,000 of them. It is a 1-drop light for 100 attack and 300 defense. It's a dragon with flying. Whenever this card attacks, you force for 1, roll a die. This card gains X amount of attack until end of turn, where X is the result of the roll. So basically, even if you had just 4 of these, you could easily, I guess, get some force counters or dragon counters onto your Millium, as long as these things don't die and that your opponent doesn't have any blockers or has anything that kills flying things. So I suppose with these, it does make it more potential for you to get all those force rolls off and, you know, get those counters onto Millium. So I guess it's not that bad in the long run. I'm still a little bit iffy about it because I'm just like, oh, like having to rely on a dice to determine whether you flip and to determine like what kind of strength that you have behind yourself. It's like a little bit risky, so I'm not too sure how I feel about it. It's very exciting to see Millium like stepping up and being the hero for once. I feel like this cluster should have been called Millium Cluster because he's the hero of this cluster, not Lapis. I don't know why. I still wonder why, because I feel like Millium's doing all the hard work and whatnot, going on his adventures and whatnot, saving Lumia and everything, and he's inheriting this dragon stone thing or whatever. So I am quite pleased to see him make a comeback. I'm interested to see more about this Force Dragonoid mechanic and whatnot. Let me know, guys, what you thought of these spoilers and whatnot. Are you behind Millium and everything, or do you think you're waiting for the next spoilers? I don't know which colour is going to be next. I feel like maybe we'll see either... I'm trying to think who's next. So we've had Kaguya, we've had Priscilla, we've now had Millium. I believe the only characters left would be Lapis and Alahamut. So either way, we're going to get some dark spoilers next, which will be very, very interesting to see. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this spoiler video. Remember, I'm still doing my 400 subscriber giveaway. It'll be in the description below. Be sure to check that out. And also, if you're interested in becoming a Patreon, you can see that in my description below as well. Always great to have some support from you guys. And if you feel free to leave a comment down below to let me know what you thought of these spoilers and whatnot. So until next time, guys, I will see you all later.